But when we started, we were like the real cliche of a garage startup. We were two people, then we were five people, and we worked in one room. And I was stressed all day long. Like I couldn't go to sleep. I wanted to see that we're meeting our ambitious goals. And we used to start working so early and we'd finish in the middle of the night, but we really enjoyed it. So, we didn't care. We understood that we're building something great.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley, in partnership with Leumi Tech, sponsored by Hippo Insurance, Opwest Labs, Turing, Hillel at Stanford, Leap, and in media partnership with CTech. All the way from Sde Boker to drone pilot to now successful startup CEO, meet Uri Gruenbaum, CEO and co-founder at TipRanks. Uri is the CEO and co-founder of TipRanks, a fast-growing financial accountability engine that helps millions of users make better financial decisions. In high school, he moved to a boarding school in Sde Boker and then served as a drone pilot in the IDF Air Force. After studying computer science at the Hebrew University, followed by an MBA from Tel Aviv University, he worked as a software engineer at Avaya, Convergin, now Oracle, and ARX, now DocuSign. Uri Gruenbaum, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Having a great day so far.
Well, amazing. I hope it's going to get just a little bit better. I don't promise anything, but I hope so. Uri, thank you very, very much for joining me from the TipRanks offices. Is that where you are?
Right. Yeah. Here near Rothschild in Tel Aviv.
Beautiful. I see the amazing logo right there on the wall behind you. So we'll talk about TipRanks and the really cool things you're doing over there. But first, I want to know the cool things about Uri and you as an entrepreneur and as a learner. All the way from being in a boarding school in Sde Boker, with Ben Gurion's legacy. I can't imagine. That's not the most traditional, entrance to for high tech people right now. So I would love to hear about that experience, but also as a drone pilot, and you did such cool things along your life. I just want to absorb some life lessons from you. So tell me a little bit about your journey, what you went through, and how that led you to decide that you want to be an entrepreneur and create a company like TipRanks.
Sure. So it's an interesting question, and the journey actually involves a lot of things that I've done before. So I was born in Jerusalem. We moved to San Francisco pretty early on. Then I moved to a neighborhood called Sde, which is near Jerusalem. And I think that when I was about 11 years old, I found my first job. We had a cake garage in our street, and I used to go there and help the people who moved the cakes to their trucks before they actually distributed in the neighborhood. And so that was basically my first job. And after that, I used to build some cool stuff from Fimo and sell them. And I used to pick salvicing. I don't know how you say that in English, but we used to sell them as well, me and friends. And then we grew up. I started working. I worked at construction. I worked at a bookstore. I worked at an ice cream shop, and I basically gained a lot of experience doing a lot of different things. When I was in high school, I moved to Sde Boker because I had a lot of passion for animals and for our country and traveling. And my parents agreed for me to move a few hours from home.
You asked to go to a boarding school in the middle of the desert. From the Jerusalem area.
And that was probably one of the most fun parts of my life, because anybody who ever visited Sde Boker can probably agree that it's the most beautiful place in Israel. Now, the best thing about Sde Boker is the people that live there. They have such high morals, and it was such an experience to go and meet people that are so different than how I grew up. And I took a lot of things from my experience over there. First of all, living with people, in the same room, but 24/7, and learning how to get along with people that are so different from you, and, to become friends of people that you would never otherwise meet. A lot about Sde Boker was about traveling, loving the country. It was like the other side of capitalism. It's kind of a kibbutz in the Negev, where the only thing you care about is basically turning the Negev into a flourishing place. So when I left Sde Boker, the last thing that I thought about was high tech. We had a computer school back then, and we connected to the modem, and we learned all that, but it was so far away from me. And I remember that we saw, like in the early '90s, there was a movie called Sneakers with Robert Redford, where they hacked all these places, and I remember seeing that, and it really blew my mind. And that was probably the first time that I was really thinking about technology. So,
Wow.
after school, we went to the army, and I started at the Air Force. I tried being a pilot, but it didn't go too well for me. And so I was moved to a drone unit. Back then, it was called the UAV, an unmanned air vehicle, and we used to fly them. And that was such a fun thing to do. You get to see so many interesting stuff in other countries, but also in Israel. And you are involved in unique operations that I'm still amazed that, people at the age of 18, 19, 20 get so much responsibility and get access to these, amazing activities. Um, and, that was probably the first time that I had some access to real technology where you have to learn and understand how things work, complicated systems, anywhere from gyros, aerodynamics, and, how you can put inside electricity just to make something work. After that, I traveled a bit, like most of my friends traveled in Asia and then in Central America, and went to university. And because I did not know what I want to do when I grow up, and you might say that I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. I went to study computer just because I thought that it would help me find jobs pretty easily when I graduate. And in university, I also met my other co-founder in this company. We studied together, and that's how I started. That's how I got into the space of high tech. I worked at other companies. I was lucky enough to work for a few startups that did an exit. I worked for big corporate American companies. And I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Actually, when we were in university, we took a course in entrepreneurship. And the last year, you get to choose some courses that are not, hardcore software. And so I got to meet a lot of established entrepreneurs that gave us presentation, and it was really motivating. And I think that back then I knew that I want to be an entrepreneur one day. And since that course in university 20 years ago, it was in me.
One of the things that I see today, and I'm really excited to hear your point of view on this. I grew up in a place where entrepreneurship is sort of the second word you say, right, when you're born. If you're born into, in specific places around the world and you see it around you, in
Yeah,
first grade, I remember that I had the pleasure of being in Palo Alto in third grade and living there. And I remember that the person who invented the PlayStation 3 came and brought us a beta version full of wires to for show and tell. It was crazy, and I remember as a kid, I'm thinking like, wow, like I get to see this PlayStation 3 before, and this like an entrepreneurship is the place to be. Now you go to Sde Boker,
yeah.
drone pilot, go study university. Entrepreneurship is obviously a thing of Israel, but it doesn't seem like it's a center point or a focal point for you on your journey. How do you perceive that? Coming into this world a little bit later, but with a different understanding and different core and balance. How do you perceive that?
So, I think that one of the most important things that you need in order to succeed, unless, of course, you are a virtuoso or, you're a Mark Zuckerberg and you don't need anything because you're just lucky. But what I think that the average entrepreneur needs is to get along with people, is to motivate them and to share your dreams and to dream big, of course, and bring everyone with you. As it's the ability to convince other people, and it's the ability to be grateful, because when you're an entrepreneur, usually you have a lot of people that will just help you out during the way. People that work in institutions that want to bring you in, people that know what they're doing and just want to help you because they appreciate what you're doing. And these are things that I've learned in Sde Boker in high school, how to get along with basically anyone, because you don't really have any other option. And of course, in the army as well, you serve with many people, you live with them, they're like your family for many years. And in the army, you also get to see so many different people. that come from so many different cultures and all that. So I feel like I really took that with me, and I was able to channel that to create a network, to meet with other entrepreneurs, and to help sell our product when the time was right, and we had a product that we could actually sell.
And that brings us to TipRanks. So where are we? You're where I feel like I'm in your office, but you've
Oh,
been
so we're
working on
actually
this
in
for
one of
quite some
we have,
time.
so we have amazing offices in Rockhill here. We're now on the first floor, but we have two floors.
Amazing.
The thing is that most of the employees are now working from home, so it's usually just
Yeah.
me and a few other people at the office. But yeah, we moved here a few years ago. Beautiful place. We took a Bauhaus building completely and just moved the entire company there. But it's now getting a bit small for us, and soon we will be moving to other offices.
Wow. So tell me a little bit about the founder journey with your co-founder through TipRanks. You come to an understanding that there's this gap in the market, specifically in the investment world, whether it comes to
Right.
the accessibility to information, the insights from that information, and making decisions. What is the essence of TipRanks as it when it comes to the way that it interacts with people's behavior?
So, when we started the company 9 years ago, the gap that I found was that there was no one to tell you if advice you're getting online was any good. You can't go on any website in Israel or in the US or anywhere in the world without seeing a lot of articles about what different experts are saying. And, you know, retail investors such as myself, we're so responsive to this content because we don't really know the market. It's not our day job, and we trust experts from the big banks to give, to give a reliable insight. So that was missing, and we developed this really cool browser add-on, and that was, the vision of the company, that we will have something sitting on your browser, and wherever you browse, you're going to get a report, or you will be able to click on the browsers button and get a report about whoever is writing the story and how accurate he is. And the concept was huge, and our first product was also amazing, but it was very difficult to scale or monetize a browser add-on business. And so 2 years after, we did a complete pivot, and we moved from being a browser add-on into a website. And that was a very big challenge, because when we had a browser add-on, the story was pretty good. I mean, you integrate us one time, and then you can use us whenever you want, when you're browsing, during your browsing experience. And when we switched into having a destination website, which is what we did in 2014, um, suddenly the narrative wasn't very clear for us, because now we expect people to actually come to our website and to do research before they're making investment decisions. So we took a very big bet, but it paid off. It paid off big time, because it took us some time to get to the first users. You're doing a lot of marketing hacks, anywhere from writing comments, social media, and stuff like that. And over time, we took it from a few thousands of monthly users to a few hundreds of thousands to monthly users, and now to a few millions of monthly users. And the market is so big, so we expect to get to a few tens of millions of monthly users.
And as you're seeing this growth, how do you change? How does your perception of either TipRanks as a company or you as an individual, how does that change?
So, we started almost 9 years ago. So I think that everybody would change, even if I wasn't at TipRanks, and I wouldn't have done nothing. I would, the things I would look at, or my philosophy, would have changed over time. But when we started, we were like the real cliche of a garage startup. We were two people, then we were five people, and we worked in one room. And I was stressed all day long. Like, I couldn't go to sleep. I wanted to see that we're meeting our ambitious goals. And we used to start working so early, and we'd finish in the middle of the night, but we really enjoyed it. So, we didn't care. We understood that we're building something great. And now, when we are much bigger, and we're profitable, and we are We feel very comfortable about our product. We always want to improve it. But I guess that, the things that I'm looking at are very different. When we started, I did everything. I did support, I did QA, I helped coding. Of course, I found investors and I did what a CEO should do, but I really did everything. And slowly, you're bringing more people and you're delegating your job. And that allows you to spend more time on creating the vision and looking, on the big picture down the line. And so I'm much less stressed than I was a few years ago. And I still enjoy what I'm doing, I think, at the same level, but it's different challenges. It's one challenge to build a product, it's a second challenge to get to a product market fit, and then it's a different challenge to scale that. And when you're at a point that we are now, the other challenge is what else can we create? We have all these users, we have a strong brand. What complementary products can we create? What other markets can we go into? Are there companies that are interesting enough for us to buy that could help us speed things up? And so the challenges are very different. And, I feel very lucky to have the privilege to go through all these phases. When we started the company, we thought it would be a 2-year thing. We thought we would build a company, and after 2 years, we will either sell the company or, at least we would know if it makes sense to dedicate our life to this.
Right.
But as time flies, you understand how big is what you're building and the impact that you're making. So, there is no urge or any need from anyone, including our investors, to even think about exiting this. And the vision, is just to become the market leader in research.
I love that. And I have to say, Uri, one of the things that, how many people are you today at TipRanks in the company?
So we are 66 employees, and we are recruiting. And I believe that we will pass 100 employees by the end of this year. Like every day, I see new people in the office, and it's just unbelievable. We used to be so small, and you knew everybody. You knew the names of their kids, their wives, their husbands, and now you just see people walking in the kitchen, and you say hi, and they say hi. Nobody knows who the other guy is, and it's funny and nice, and it's just a phase that companies need to go through of accelerated growth, not just with the product but also with the team.
And I have to say that honestly, Uri, one of the things that I really enjoy, you sound so grounded and so balanced and calm. And honestly, I wish that for myself. I wish that when I'll be in a fast growing company of almost 70 people growing, almost 1.5x in a matter of months, that I'll be as calm and grounded as you are.
And
And I
I can
think,
tell you that you will, because you don't have any other option. You can't afford to be stressed anymore. At the beginning, you need to take care of 2 3 fires every day. So you're running around the fire thinking, how can you solve it, and if it's going to kill the business or not. But as you grow, you understand that you need to take care of 50 fires every day. And so it becomes, you get to a place where you can't really stress about everything because you don't even have time. And so you can lay back, and you also realize that nothing is really going to kill your business because, it's a stable business and it's just in your head. All the things that always freaked me out and scared me were completely like when you zoom out, and when I reflect about the times that I was completely depressed about things going on, these were probably the best times of the company in terms of the business. That's
wow.
where we grew the most and all that. And so I know that I can probably run around here angry because this didn't happen, that didn't happen, and we didn't meet this goal and that goal. But what am I going to get from that?
Uri, this was amazing. Thank you. I have a few last questions for you. Are you ready?
Yeah, sure, go
All
ahead.
right. Favorite subject in school?
So it kind of changed over time. I remember that. So first of all, I was pretty bad in math and in physics, and I remember that when I joined the Air Force, we had to study that, and it was difficult for me as well. And after the army, I had to improve my grades. So I did 5 units physics and 5 units math, and I got
Wow.
like very high scores in both. And that's when I realized how much I love physics. And so in school, all I liked was with the gym, with the sports, because I love doing sports. But the subject that I really like and wished I liked it back then, so I could enjoy it a bit more, is physics.
I love it. I love it. One of your role models or somebody that you look up to?
So, in our small ecosystem in Israel, there are many people that I look up to. But if I had to choose the one person that I think would be the Leonardo da Vinci of our time, it is obviously Elon Musk. Like, nobody is making a bigger impact than him. He goes into areas that no one touched for hundreds of years, and he completely disrupts it. So I can't see how you can how can someone not look at Elon as a role model.
Wonderful. And 3 words that you would choose to describe yourself. Or if I would ask anybody at TipRanks, who is Uri?
So I'd say that I'm a kind and a good person. Like, I like helping. It's one of the things that I found that make me happy. I am grateful. I think if I had to give one tip to entrepreneurs is be grateful. Thank people that help you during the way, because it goes a long way, and you have an amazing ROI on the word thank you. And the third property, I don't know, happy, I guess. I don't know, because
I take
we're
that.
all happy most of the time. But I guess I'll go with that.
It definitely comes through this conversation. Uri, thank you very, very much. Best of luck with TipRanks. Just amazing. I look forward to coming and meeting you in person, hopefully in the new offices, and seeing the amazing thing you're building. Thank you for the inspiration over these 20 minutes, and stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. It was a pleasure. Take care, and you're of course invited.
Thank you.